Very good morning to all of you. I am Saku Yatigammana Ekanayake, Professor in Education from the Department of Education, University of Peradeniya, Sri Lanka. I think you all have heard about Sri Lanka. It is officially the Democratic Socialistic Republic of Sri Lanka. Is an island country in South Asia located in the Indian Ocean, southwest of the Bay of Bengal and southeast of the Arabian Sea. I wanted to say something about my university. University of Peradeniya is one of the prestigious and beautiful university in Sri Lanka. You can see the beauty from these pictures, and this is my Department of Education. It is one of the departments, the Faculty of Arts of the University of Peradeniya. If I move to my topic today, it is barriers to integrate ICT in mathematics teaching in junior secondary classrooms. This is the overview. First, I will do the introduction, then methodology, and finally, I will describe the results and conclusions. If we look at my research presentation topic, the term teaching is a key word. So actually, what is teaching? There are a lot of definitions available in the literature. Among the existing definitions in the literature, what Sharman says about teaching is really appropriate according to my understanding. According to Sharman, teacher start teaching from the piece of text, and then after selecting the text, what teacher does is teacher planned different teaching or the appropriate teaching methods or strategies that is to support students to obtain the expected knowledge, skills and attitudes from that selected piece of text. And while teacher doing that or the planning the methods of teaching strategies, teacher adds different flavors like essence, like examples, metaphors, simulations, dialogues and demonstrations in order to support students' understanding. And not only that, teacher also design or plan about how he or she is going to assess whether the students have achieved the expected outcomes of that lesson. That's the knowledge, skills and attitudes. Actually, this process is occurring in the planning stage, and it's implementing teacher, it's implement. Right? So this is what is teaching. And if we move to the integration of ICT, then that's the same thing happen, because it's the teacher select the text and also plan the different teaching methods considering about essence and also assessment methods to check whether the students have already achieved the expected learning outcomes. If you look at this, the essence, right, those are in order to provide the content and explanations, clarifications to the student, as well as to engage students in the process of learning. In here, the process of learning mathematics. So the integration ICT means the teacher needs to integrate ICT in all these processes. Like especially, it's in order to provide content or explanations, clarifications, or in student engagement for different places of the different stages of a lesson. And further, if we look at the literature on ICT integration, the literature, especially the recent literature, provide the enough evidence in order to show that the ICT integration support teachers' pedagogical actions in lesson planning, lesson implementation, and lesson evaluation and reflection. So in this, the presentations also, or in this study also, I wanted to highlight that the integration of ICT in mathematics lesson planning, lesson implementation, and lesson evaluation and reflection is also emphasized in the literature, and the literature says the integration of ICT enhances these processes, supporting while supporting students' mathematics understanding of mathematics or the learning of mathematics. However, thinking about the mathematics teaching, the literature says actually mathematics teaching is difficult and the mathematics learning is difficult. For example, uh, Fritz and the group says the mathematics is commonly perceived to be difficult. Moreover, many believe it is okay. Not everyone can be good at maths. That is why written in 2012. Actually, when we look at the situation in Sri Lanka, we can go, if you can go through the past, the publications from Sri Lanka as well as the O-level, the ordinary level results, we can see the mathematics achievement students is very not in a good position. The status is not actually good. That means even though teachers tried, the students' achievement levels are very, very poor. Therefore, in this presentation, actually, we wanted to see how we can enhance the mathematics teaching and learning process while integrating ICT as evidenced by the literature. That means the literature says that the integration of ICT into mathematics teaching can enhance the teaching learning process while enhancing the student achievement. So the aim is to identify the barriers faced by teachers in integration of ICT into mathematics teaching for 7th graders in secondary level school in one of the provinces in Sri Lanka. Actually, the sample was randomly selected 15 mathematics teachers from 50 schools in central province in Sri Lanka, and we used the mixed method design as the research design in order to do this research. And in that under that research design, we collected qualitative and quantitative data. That means both ways of data collection procedures were parallel, and then the qualitative data were analyzed, quantitative data were analyzed as well, and then while integrating the results, we tried to find the answers for the research problem. So in this presentation, the quantitative data were collected using a survey question, and qualitative data were collected using focus group and as interview data. Then the using SPSS 21 statistical software, the quantitative data were analyzed and the results were obtained. The thematic analysis technique was used to analyze qualitative data with the support of NVO8 software, and qualitative results were derived. And while comparing and contrasting and interpretations, the findings or the answers for the research question were obtained. If I move to the findings of my presentation, actually from the from the analysis of the collected data, it was found that the barriers are two types or two categories. They are teacher related factors and student related factors. First, if we look at the teacher related factors, actually during the focus group interviews, the teachers needs are shown in this figure. One teacher says, even though we have heard ICT integration is useful for effective teaching, we do not have confidence to do that. That means teachers they did not have the pedagogical knowledge in order to practice it. And another teacher said, you all know that there are training programs to be aware of it. I mean the Microsoft package. However, the directors and ISS do not explain how those applications, those tools can be used for teaching mathematics. The other teacher said that the available resources in the schools are not enough. According to that teacher, even though there were 2 computers. They were in the principal's office, and no multimedia projectors was not available, and due to that, teacher couldn't use that effectively for the teacher's mathematics teaching. And these are the some findings from the quantitative analysis, that's the survey. So according to that, the teachers mentioned that that there was a statement that they do not have adequate support for using technology, and among I think 22. Only 22 teachers mentioned that it is not a problem for them. Others say that, I mean, in different levels, it's actually a problem for teachers. And the other statement was to what extent in-service training sessions help teachers to improve their knowledge and skills as a teacher to integrate ICT in their mathematics teaching. As you can see, I mean, the most of the time, for example, only 38% responded as sometimes it is useful, but 16 said never or almost never. And that means by looking at the teachers think that even though teachers wanted to use ICT in their mathematics teaching, but there are issues related to the pedagogical training. That means how to use, they don't know how to use effectively ICT in their mathematics teaching in order to support students' learning. The other things is the available resources, that those are not adequate. And the other thing is I mean, highlighting the the quality, the poor quality of the I mean, the trainings provided by offered them, because they are not focusing about how to use ICT in teaching and learning. If you look at the student related factors, actually these are also from the from teachers' perspectives. The teachers think that these are the teachers' views related to student factors. As only some students can use them, most of the time the other students have to be there in the lessons, like passive learners, because only the group of students can manage, they have the ICT competency. The other teacher said that the parents also fear to give technological tool to the students, like for example mobile phones and things like that. Therefore the students are not getting a chance to use at least a mobile phone for learning purposes. That's also a big problem according to them. The other teacher said the lack of equipment for students is the biggest challenge in the school as well as at their home environment. For example, this graph shows the student use of ICT for their learning. So according to this figure, you can see that it says about use of a computer and the tablet. Those are the popular devices used by the students. They never or almost never. You can see this category, right? This is the highest, right? So it is also identified as one of the barriers in mathematics teaching in Sri Lanka. This table shows the available ICT tools for learning, right? These are the statements. Is a computer available at your home? From the students, responses, I collected those things. So then it says that, for an example, only 66 students says they have only a TV at home. But regarding the other digital devices or the computers and smartphones and the e-readers, actually the availability of those things are very poor, right? For example, 71 points says that they do not have a computer. That means they are not available at their home environment. And this is this figure shows about the availability of internet, and we all know that internet is a very important resource in teaching and learning. So this says that about 71% says that they have not the internet connectivity. That means it is difficult to get the internet connected. And 26 is that yes, the internet, the student can access to the internet. However, if we look at the student use of the internet, right? So this table says uh, they are used, I mean the student use of internet in learning processes, right? So here you can see 78 students not using internet to access the textbooks or other materials for schoolwork. And the other thing is also the I mean when they are engaging in collaborative work or the project work, they are not using the internet at all, and they are not communicating with the teacher using the internet. So that means even though some percentage of students have the access to the internet, they are not using properly for teaching learning for learning purposes. So in conclusions, we can say the barriers are two types, the teacher-related factors and student-related factors. These are based on the teacher's perspectives. That means from the data collected from the teacher's questionnaire and the interviews with teachers. Also, the teacher-related factors, we can say the lack of confidence for using ICT in teaching, and lack of pedagogical knowledge, how to use and when to use, and also to justify why I wanted to use ICT in my teaching. Right? They do not have that knowledge. And the third one is the lack of available resources in the school in order to use ICT in mathematics teaching. The student-related factors are lack of devices. That means they know the students, teachers' perspective was that students do not have their own devices, and the lack of competence of using those devices, and also the parents also parents do not have I mean positive view towards the use of ICT for their children's learning. So that's also a barrier in order to use ICT in mathematics teaching in the Sri Lankan context. These are based on the selected sample. Therefore, as recommendations, I can say that we need to, provide teacher training based on the needs of the teachers, and they should say how to use, and also especially need to explain. That means the training providers should say explain the justification of use of ICT in mathematics teaching in order to enhance student learning, and also the necessary actions should be taken in order to enhance the student use of ICT by providing hands-on experience and providing devices as well. So with those conclusions, I am going to wind up my presentation. Thank you very much for your